Yo, what is going on? Welcome back to the show. Hope everybody's doing good as always. Y'all know why you're here. We do this every week. Starts in week number 3. Can't believe it's already week number 3 of the NFL. It just flies by that much faster every single season. Unbelievable. Thursday night is in the books. Like I mentioned on the Boomer Bust vid, it is Dunzo. Bills win. And we got a lot of teams, a lot of players to dissect. Y'all know the drill. It is rapid fire. Every team, every player. Let's roll, baby. Arizona Cardinals taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Kyler Murray, he was good last week. Not great overall, but he was good enough to at least get us the point totals that we like. Taking on the San Francisco 49ers club that is battered and bruised on the offensive side still, but the defense will still give them fits as well. Kyler Murray in San Francisco, mid-level risk. We can still trust to play him if he is your starting quarterback, but I mean, temper those expectations on the high-end upside versus 49ers defense that still is legit. James Conner, low-level risk. He's been doing more than enough. They've been managing his reps already so far this season early on with a Trey Benson, as to be expected. Still low-level risk, 2 boom games in a row for James Conner. He does more than enough for us with the volume that he does have. Fire him up everywhere he got him. Trey Benson, he is flirting with flex appeal in deeper leagues at this point. In 12-man leagues, I'm still going to caution that and say, you know what, let's just let him chill on the bench just a little bit more. But he's starting to become that running back that we could potentially trust, as they are making this a dual backfield set. Marvin Harrison Jr. coming off a weak showing this past week after the first week boom. Mid-level risk versus 49ers secondary that is okay at the best of times, not necessarily great. We can still play Marvin Harrison this week, but I'm not expecting like a 15 to 20 point spot. He should do us well, good enough to at least get us the point totals we're looking for. Michael Wilson coming off a touchdown. We do not trust it. TD Floor on the red. We're Zay Jones, high-level risk. And Trey McBride, we want more out of this man as well, for especially where we drafted him. Still giving us good point totals so far for tight ends, but we still are not seeing the end zone trips. Kyler Murray's got to step his game up. He is the issue right now for this offense, I do believe. He's got to be able to throw this thing that much better down the field. Atlanta Falcons taking on the Carolina Panthers. Michael Penix Jr. coming off a poor showing. He should have a bounce back versus the Panthers defense that is lukewarm. They're trying to improve. They battled last week, and I mean, I don't foresee them necessarily keeping pace with the Falcons this week because of guys like Bijan Robinson. Low-level risk for Michael Penix. I'm good with firing him up this week, especially in super flex leagues. Single quarterback leagues, I would look in other directions. Where Bijan Robinson, stud start of the week, he should absolutely blow up this Carolina Panthers defense. Where Tyler Algier, he had a good showing last week. Volume floor in the red. It's too hard to trust with somebody like a Bijan in front of him. You're going to be playing with fire if you're setting him into your lineup thinking you're going to get what you got last week, as the standard just does not happen and occur for an Algier with Bijan Robinson. Drake London, low-level risk. Fire this man up everywhere he got him. Been very much meek so far this season. Like I said last week, little cautious of the play, and I was correct because, I mean, coming off the injury, I mean, it was not necessarily the best performance offensively, but, I mean, you know he was going to play more decoy role. This week, he's not on the injury report as well. Looked like he had a good week of practice. I'm good with Drake London everywhere we got him. Low-level risk, man. Darnell Mooney, good upside on the mid-level risk. I do like the play a lot. I did foresee potentially a boom game coming for a Darnell Mooney. I love the play for my flex. Low-end wide receiver 3 spot. I do think that he coming back from his injury, they should absolutely look in his direction for more targets. Ray McLeod, high-level risk, not touching it, where Kyle Pitts is on the mid-level risk. We can absolutely fire up Kyle Pitts everywhere we got him because he's doing the business enough for tight ends and keeping us relevant in the green, man. Baltimore Ravens taking on the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football. Lamar Jackson and company coming off a victory last week after the opening week. Lost to my Buffalo Bills. Low-level risk for Lamar. Fire him up everywhere he got him. He's every single week. Obviously, he is the cream of the crop at the quarterback spot. And I mean, 2 boom games in a row coming off last year's 100% boom rate. You fire up Lamar everywhere he got him. Derrick Henry on the bounce back in the green, had a horrific day versus those Cleveland Browns defense. Cleveland Browns defense was talking a bunch of ish, saying, Derrick Henry's nothing. And Derrick's like, okay, we'll see. They showed you, King Henry, what you could not do versus that defense. But the Browns defense is legit on the front line, man. They can actually make a lot of teams pay. Bounce back versus the Lions, even though the Lions do do have a good front seven as well. You know he's not going to have 2 weeks in a row where he's going to bust for us. Justice Hill not touching, where Zay Flowers, low-level risk, fire him up. 2 boom games in a row, almost 40 points. He's turning into the wide receiver that we had hoped for in this offense, and Lamar Jackson is finding him on the regular. Zay Flowers, we can fire him up everywhere we got him. Rashad Bateman, high-level risk, and why? Because they're utilizing everybody else in this offense besides a Rashad Bateman. Will not do it, will not trust it this week either. It is not good for business. We're at DeAndre Hopkins, D-Hop. I mean, what did I say? Touchdown upside coming into the season, and that's exactly what we're getting. As long as they continue to build this chemistry, they call upon D-Hop, he's making plays, man. So he is a decent start everywhere we got him as our wide receiver 3 or flex option as well. Love me the start of D-Hop because this offense is going to put up points, and he will get at least his share of, 4 to 5 targets at most, but at least he's going to make the most out of him. He could have had 2 tutties last week as well. Would have been a massive great point score, I should say, for a D-Hop. Mark Andrews, high-level risk, benching this man till further notice, where Isaiah Likely is potentially coming back from his injury. I got him on the high-level injury risk this week. Do not like what's going down at the tight end spot for these Ravens. Maybe with Likely coming back, they will start to, force feed, integrate the tight end that much more. Andrews just looks like he might be done in Baltimore, especially if Isaiah Likely comes back and starts to produce fantasy points. Play Likely at your own risk. I'm going to wait one more week before unleashing the man on my roster for fantasy football. Carolina Panthers taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Like I'm saying, Bryce Young, mid-level risk. He battled last week. He can't, say anything terrible about his game. He found his new toy, Hunter Renfrow, on the regular. Bryce Young was enough to be at least, feeling better about his game. Still not trusting him this week versus the Atlanta Falcons defense that can come after quarterbacks with a bum rush with that front line. I have a feeling that Bryce Young's going to be running for his life majority of this contest. Where Chuba Hubbard, low-level risk, man, this guy does nothing but put up points, does it very well, very consistently. Even versus the Atlanta Falcons, he should get a lot of play, and I do like the start of a Chuba. Rico Dwaddle not touching it this week, high-level risk. We're a Ted McMillan, T-Mac, low-level risk. Told y'all it was a boom game last week. He absolutely repaid us in a handsome way. Fire him up once again this week as well with injuries to the back end of that Atlanta Falcons secondary. Xavier Legette, high-level risk. I mean, he's too busy eating squirrels to play football, apparently. I don't know. He's just not getting targets. He's just invisible on that field. High-level risk. Not touching that until he shows us something. There's nothing to be seen with an Xavier Legette. Hunter Renfrow, mid-level risk. We can absolutely play Hunter Renfrow this week. I love the play, and it was only a matter of time until he started to pick up the Adam Thielen role, which is why they shipped out Adam Thielen to those Minnesota Vikings. Renfrow is going to continue to be one of these guys. It's all dependent on a Bryce Young, but Hunter Renfrow is going to be a fantasy darling for us in PPR leagues, no question. Jatavion Sanders, he's on the mid-level risk PPR floor. There is going to be enough play for these guys to get us at least decent fantasy points this week. Chicago Bears taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Caleb Williams. Okay, there is a conundrum. Fantasy-wise, he's doing okay for us, man. 42 points, nothing to sneeze at. 2 boom games. You absolutely love what you see fantasy-wise. On the field, it's so difficult to watch this team play football because there's so many errors and so many mistakes. Can we play a Caleb versus the Cowboys? Yes, we can. You can fire up a Caleb everywhere you got him. I just got him on mid-level because I want to see less mistakes and more, efficiency coming out of this man. But, coming to fantasy point productivity, we can absolutely play a Caleb Williams. DeAndre Swift popped up on the injury report with some undisclosed issue. He is questionable to play in this contest. Fire him up with a mid-level risk. I like the play if he suits up. Roshan, high-level risk. Likewise with all the other running backs in this offense. Don't know what Ben Johnson's doing. Only utilizing Swift basically as the lead back, and nobody else is touching that football. We do not touch the other running backs on this team. DJ Moore, TD upside, 110%. This is the week I believe that he breaks free with a touchdown, with a tutty from Caleb, as he's had multiple opportunities in the first 2 weeks, just has not materialized into that end zone trip and dance. Rome Odunze, on the other hand, is the one catching all the tutties from a Caleb Williams. Low-level risk for Rome as well. Fire up a DJ Moore and Rome Odunze versus one of the worst secondaries in the entire NFL. Luther Burden, rookie, high-level risk. Likewise with Cole Kmet and Colston Loveland. We cannot play these gentlemen at this point. Even though I'm a huge Luther Burden fan, it just at this point, Caleb Williams can't support more than 1 or 2 options in any given contest. Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Joey B, man, season basically over, and I would not be shocked, barring any setbacks. They say 3 months, so we'll see how his recovery does go. But if the Cincinnati Bengals, while they are 2-0 right now, if they start to lose contests, I would not be shocked if the rehab for Joey B takes a little longer and he just decides to shut it down for the rest of the year if the Bengals are not in playoff contention. Jake Browning, on the other hand, mid-level risk. He's a gunslinger. He's going to throw that football, going to create turnovers, so you got to take the good with the bad. Mid-level risk for me versus Minnesota Vikings defense. That can get after the quarterback, so I don't really like the play this week. Think there are much better options than a Browning, but I mean, if you're really stuck at quarterback, especially in super flex leagues, I get playing him this week. Chase Brown on the volume upside. Temper those expectations, so Minnesota can absolutely defend the run game very well. And Chase, I mean, without a Burrow in this offense, I mean, it has not looked great for Chase Brown this year. That offensive line just is in shambles still, and it does not look good. Don't dislike the play of a Chase Brown. I'm just hoping for better upside. He does have volume upside. That's why I got him in the green, because he's the only guy carrying the ball from the backfield at this point. Jamar Chase, low-level risk, fire him up. It is Jamar Chase. I could be throwing him the football, and he's going to catch passes to come his way. Browning at least has showed the fact that he came back in that contest last week, so at least he can show that he can spread the football around. T. Higgins, mid-level risk. Don't dislike the play, but I would look for other options if I can over this defense, because they will come after him with the blitz. Very good, confusing defense for any quarterback. Jamar Chase, Chase Brown, really the only ones that I'm looking to play this week. Andrei Iosivas, high-level risk. We're not touching it. We're Mike Gesicki, TD Floor on the high-level risk. He could find his way into the end zone as well. Sneaky play this week is a Mike Gesicki, as Jake Browning should look in his direction as well. Cleveland Brownies taking on the Green Bay Packers, and this defense of these Brownies is sound and solid, and it is going to be interesting. I'm going to be watching this one with peeled eyes to see what Jordan Love can do. Feeling the love for love, but we're talking about these Brownies right now, man. Joe Flacco, mid-level risk. Not near enough to trust in fantasy football, but what we're hoping is that at least he can make these other guys fantasy relevant. Where Judkins, he came back in his first contest this past week, 8.6 points, after finally signing his rookie contract after all the off-field issues. He looked good, man, and he looked as advertised. Judkins is one of these dudes that is a dog, man, and he's going to be very tough to bring down. He always falls forward. Absolutely mid-level risk for me for a Judkins. We can play him this week, where Dylan Sampson kind of gets pulled back a little bit, but we're going to start to see this tandem approach backfield with Judkins and Sampson, exactly how they drafted it. They're going to draw it up the same way in football games, and I like it, man. It's a very sound backfield, kind of thunder lightning type of approach between Judkins and a Sampson. Jerry Jeudy, low upside. Everyone was saying, oh, Joe Flacco's just going to force feed a Jerry Jeudy. I didn't buy it, man. He's going to have his pockets of games. He's not Jameis Winston out here just chucking the football up. It's going to continue to be a headache with a Jerry Jeudy. You're going to have the, 7 to maybe 12 points in between that every single week unless he starts scoring touchdowns. It is a big problem. So he's just enough to keep himself relevant, but not enough to keep us over the top and happy, warm and fuzzy with Jerry Jeudy. I'm still looking to bench him this week. Don't like it. Green Bay's defense is absolutely stellar, and they're going to come after the quarterback. Cedric Tillman, TD upside, continues in the green. Out of all the wide receivers on this team, Tillman would be the only one I would recommend playing. But again, Green Bay's defense is so sound, man. They might struggle quite a bit this week. David Njoku, target floor, like I said, going back to the offseason, because you drafted a guy like Harold Fannin Jr., this guy's an absolute beast and a machine, and will likely make an Njoku expendable in this offense eventually. Target floor on the mid-level risk. Feels like an Njoku day because he has not necessarily been involved in this offensive approach thus far. And how does Cleveland, kind of mitigate what Green Bay's doing on the defensive side? Use your double tight ends, run the football, and use the play action pass to the tight end. So both Njoku and Fannin could have a decent day, but Harold Fannin, good upside in the green, continues as he is becoming a favorite target. The athletic ability in this man is off the damn chain, man. Absolutely loved Harold Fannin coming out of this draft, and you can see why I've been preaching up his good graces. Dallas Cowboys taking on the Chicago Bears. Dak Prescott, low-level risk, fire him up. Looked much better last week in what was, a definite no-defense contest versus those New York Giants. Took overtime to win this contest. Low-level risk versus the Bears defense that is struggling, has lots of injuries. Dak should be able to light up the secondary as well. Javonte Williams, Vontae, my dude, biggest sleeper running back I had all offseason. He's showing it, making me look like a genius. Thank you, Vontae. 41 points right now, 2 boom games, low-level risk. We can fire up Vontae everywhere we got him. Jaden Blue, the blueprint. high-level risk. I don't know why they're not playing this man, okay? This is the last time he's going to be on my board if they make him a healthy scratch once again as they continue to play on Miles Sanders. So keep tabs on that, man. Just wait and see for Jaden Blue. It just isn't there yet for fantasy football. Where CeeDee Lamb, low-level risk, fire him up obviously everywhere we got him. But George Pickens coming off a decent contest, better showing than in week one. Good upside on the mid-level risk. I'm good with playing a George as well this week. Where Jalen Tolbert, high-level risk, and Jake Ferguson creeps back up into the mid-level risk. PPR upside for me. I like this Cowboys offense this week versus the Chicago Bears injured defense. Denver Broncos taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. Bo Nix, Bo knows he came back in a big way, finding his boy, his Oregon Duck fellow Troy Franklin on the mass upside this past week. But again, it's going to be spread the wealth. It's going to be move the ball around. So it's going to be every single week somebody else is going to be eating as somebody else gets more, dedication to coverage from opposing defenses. Bo Nix, low-level risk, fire him up in a very massive, important division showdown early in the season versus these Chargers who are surging as well. J.K. Dobbins, something of a revenge game. Even though he only played one season with the Chargers, we're going to call it a revenge game. I don't care. I love calling these things revenge games, mid-level risk. Even though the defense, they lost Khalil Mack, should have some openings to run through. I do like a start of a J.K. Dobbins this week. Should continue his good pace that he is giving these Broncos right now, where R.J. Harvey is the mid-level risk, low floor. Not liking it yet. Like I said, got to crawl before you walk. There is some upside potential, but I think J.K. still has the leg up in this offense. Courtland Sutton on the bounce back. They're going to have to utilize this man versus defense, and he's got to play much better than he did last week. Not enough targets to go his way. Not enough impact in the contest last week for Sutton. Bounce back coming in the green in a big way. High-level risk for Marvin Mims as Troy Franklin. I think they found something in the man. More than just a 9-route runner. He is all over the field. Get him in the slant and goes. Get him on the drag routes and just get the ball in this man's hands, and you can see what he can do, man. Go look at his Oregon tape. You know that he was just not a 9-route specialist. He was a yak machine. Get the ball in his hand, and he can make a lot of plays. I do like the play of Franklin, even though it might be something of recency bias from his last week of success. I still like the play of him. Adam Troutman is playing ahead of an Evan Ingram. Ingram has been ruled out since I did my graphics and everything, so we'll see. Adam Troutman, he did have a decent game last week, mid-level risk. Bo Nix going to spread the ball around. I think there are better tight end options than an Adam Troutman that we could play this week. Detroit Lions taking on those Baltimore Ravens. Like I said on Monday Night Football, Jared Goff and company showcased the fact that they have gone nowhere and they are back to being a well-oiled machine. Dropped a 50 burger on the Chicago Bears last week. And I mean, everybody was looking good, man, basically. This offense was moving in the right direction, but they were a lot more pass happy than run happy, and I don't like that whatsoever. The offense is predicated upon running the football and then taking the top off the defense, man. Gibby and the Monty Show both had themselves a boom game last week. Jared Goff on the mid-level risk. It's going to be a very interesting show because the defense in Baltimore is kind of up and down. We'll see how it does work. But Jared Goff, I do like the play. He should be able to at least give you a good, solid floor. I just don't see 40 points coming from him versus the Ravens this week, where Gibby and Monty, low-level risk, fire these gentlemen up everywhere you got them. Playing the clock control might be the best thing to keep the ball out of Lamar's hand. They should have a big-time role in this contest. Amon-Ra St. Brown, low-level risk, fire him up. He should continue where he left off, where J-Mo, TD upside on the mid-level. I was suggesting kind of sitting him last week. Big mistake. He only got 3 catches for whatever it was and a touchdown. So he did burn me because I didn't like the play. But again, not enough targets to go around, but he is that boomer bust appeal with the huge touchdowns and the speed to boot, man. TD upside on the mid-level. If you got him, don't hate the flex play this week. Isaac Tesla continues the crazy one-handed catches, just not relevant enough in fantasy football just yet. Where Sam Laporta, low-level risk, fire him up. I think this is the week that they utilize Sam versus this defense quite a bit. Green Bay Packers taking on those Cleveland Brownies. Jordan Love, feeling the love for love. Mid-level risk, downgrade just a little bit because this defense in Cleveland is good, man. They will come after the quarterback, and Jordan Love may be struggling just a little bit. We should see a lot of rushing upside from a Josh Jacobs this week. Low-level risk like always. Want to see a bigger time boom coming from Josh. It's been, relatively good on the mid-levels, but it's just I want to see that big takeover game from Josh Jacobs. I do believe they will try to run the football quite a bit. Chris Brooks is making a name for himself in the PPR game, just not enough yet for us at this point for fantasy. What do we do with these wide receivers now that Jaden Reed is on the injured reserve with that collarbone, and Tucker Kraft went down with a knee injury in practice as well? He is officially questionable to play in this contest, which could mean he is a decoy at best. I really highly doubt these Packers are going to put him in harm's way to get that knee hurt even more. So we'll jump to tight ends. Luke Musgrave might be a sneaky good tight end to play this week as well. Target upside where Kraft is dealing with that injury and could be, nursed on the sideline to say you're suiting up, but you're not necessarily playing the snaps. Luke Musgrave might be a very sneaky play this week at tight end, man. Matthew Golden, boomer bust. Now without Jaden Reed, I think he kind of takes that role over. Be that guy that you're making big plays with. They have been close. They just have not connected. Either Jordan Love is too early or too late on this man through deep passes, and it just oversails or undershoots, and we just haven't seen it yet with Golden. It will come eventually. I got him on the mid-level. Don't dislike the play this week, but it comes with heavy boom and bust risk. Romeo on the mid-level. I think he is the safest wide receiver out of the bunch at this point, especially if Tucker Kraft does not play in this contest or plays a limited role as well. Romeo should be a good one. I do like the play on the mid-level risk. Dontavian Wicks was being peppered early with targets. I still don't trust it because we've seen the Wicks show before until we see, better upside and consistency from the man. You will not get the good graces from me, Mr. Dontavian Wicks. Houston Texans taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. CJ Stroud, what has happened to you, man? You used to be my guy. I was preaching you up. You look great in your rookie season, and it's like you forgot how to play football, dude. I don't understand. But to his credit, the offensive line still isn't great. I mean, the weapons aren't materializing outside of a Nico Collins on this offense as they drafted rookies. Offensive line is no good. The run game is okay. It's not great. Chubb finally found his way into the end zone. Looked better, but it's not a dominating team on the offensive side, and it just carried over from last year. Mid-level risk versus the Jags. If CJ Stroud can't bounce back versus the Jaguars, I don't know what else to say about this man. It might be an afterthought as his career went super peak, and then it's just fallen off into a cliff. I don't like it this week, but if you need a quarterback, CJ Stroud's not bad with a decent matchup versus Jaguars. Nick Chubb on the mid-level risk got you a touchdown last week. They got a Woody and Chubby on this team, and nobody's talking about it. Woody Marks looked okay this past week as well. But, I mean, again, it's whoever's got the hot hand, whoever's going to ride the greater yards per carry. That's who's going to be getting the touches. Nick Chubb looked better than advertised and coming off that knee injury. Don't hate the play of Chubb. I just would look in other directions because I want the safer appeal over a Nick Chubb. Nico Collins, fire him up everywhere he got him. Finally, he looked better, but there's just not enough going to his direction, and there's not enough support as everyone is dictating coverage to Nico's side is a big problem. Still firing up a Nico this week where Jaden Higgins, low floor in the mid-level, not touching it. Christian Kirk off the injury report, and he is a high-level risk for me. We'll see what he does on the field, but I do think this could bring a better upside for this offense, which they require a true specimen that can pull coverage from the number one wide receiver on any offense. Christian Kirk is that guy, and if you give him something over the middle, deep sevens, he can make a lot of plays. Dalton Schultz, Mr. 4 points a week. I don't like it. High-level risk. Indianapolis Colts taking on the Tennessee Titans. Take a deep breath, man. Daniel Jones, Daniel Pennies. Everyone's calling him Indiana Jones. I don't like it. He's Danny Pennies for me. It just is what it is, but it's a compliment now because he is doing so damn well. My biggest sleeper quarterback coming into this league. I'm going to keep repeating it until he starts falling off a cliff. Low-level risk. Fire up Danny Pennies everywhere he got him. 52 points, baby. He is doing everything we require from a quarterback like Daniel Jones. I told y'all, though, this offense is too loaded for Daniel Jones to not succeed, especially with a good offensive line. Fire up Danny Pennies everywhere he got him. JT, again, low-level risk, man. This offense goes through JT, helps everything Daniel Jones style. JT's been one of the best running backs in this league for so long. He continues his feared pace, and he looks damn good in the process. Josh Downs, we're always down for Downs, except this week I will not do it. Eventually, he's going to break out as well. Don't understand the slow start, man. No chemistry with Danny Pennies, man. Pennies got chemistry with everyone else but you. Josh Downs is a dog, man. He's a player, but mid-level risk for me. I think there are better options this week, and I definitely will exercise them over a Josh Downs. Even if Downs does hit, great, man. I'd rather have it hit on my bench than it give me another, 5 points on my starting lineup. Michael Pittman, he is got the good upside this week in the green. Fire him up everywhere he got him. He is going to become, if he continues this pace as well, one of the biggest ADP value picks in our drafts. He's so damn good in this offense with Daniel Jones. Pittman is definitely a start for me. Adonai Mitchell, AD, and Alec Pierce. Boomer bust for Mitchell. High level risk for Pierce. Can't trust it. tested. We're still waiting for that breakout for AD. I just don't know if it's going to come, man. Too many mouths to feed, and they're playing very safe and efficient ball in Indianapolis right now, where Tyler Warren is dealing with a toe injury. No worse for wear. They're saying he should suit up in this contest. Low-level risk for this rookie. Told y'all, man, this guy's an absolute beast. Bears screwed up. They took a Colston Loveland, who is good, but, I mean, Tyler Warren is just on another level. Jacksonville Jaguars taking on those Houston Texans. Sunshine, Trevor Lawrence. Low floor on the mid-level risk. Until you prove it, man, I don't know. At this point, I'm almost at the point I can suggest that Trevor Lawrence is going into that bust category. Just a ordinary guy who can play quarterback in this league, but not the generational talent he was pegged coming out of his draft class. And I, for one, fell for it as well. He had all the intangibles. Everything looked good. It just has not materialized to what we had thought it might be, man. Low floor on the mid-level risk, as Houston does have a very good secondary and will challenge this offense in a very big way. Travis Etienne, low-level risk. Fire him up everywhere he got him. He still looks good. We're Bayshal Tutin, what I say. Soon as they took away a Tank Bigsby, Tutin was going to get his play, and he's on a mid-level risk for me. 15 points or 14 points last week. Absolutely love it, man. We can absolutely, in deeper leagues, we can play a Tutin because Travis Etienne is going to need all the help they can get to support a Trevor Lawrence versus this crazy pass rush and secondary of these Houston Texans. Brian Thomas Jr., everybody's on the mid-level in this offense, man. Dropping Prom, 19 targets, 5 receptions for BTJ. What is going on with you, man? So PPR floor for me, he's been absolutely terrible in the first 2 games for us. Not looking good. His only touchdown came on a jet sweep, man. So you can tell what's going down in Jacksonville. Does not look good for BTJ. You got to play him. I highly doubt you got better options than Brian Thomas at this point. So you got to play him, man. Until, the ship falls off and sinks into the ocean, we definitely got to play it. Travis Hunter, TD floor on the mid-level risk, not playing it this week. I got to see more, especially with guys like Derek Stingley and company. They lock down everybody in that secondary. These guys will have a very difficult time trying to get open, and I foresee Trevor Lawrence throwing a couple interceptions in this contest. Diami Brown might be the only safe wide receiver in this offense as he took over that Christian Kirk role, and Trevor Lawrence is the most comfortable throwing to that direction. So Diami Brown is the one that I'm kind of looking towards saying, yeah, we could probably play him, and he could have the biggest day of them all in this one as well, man. Bretton Strange, TD upside on the mid-level risk, has not materialized the way I had envisioned. Just Trevor Lawrence is not looking in his direction near enough for me to trust. Kansas City Chiefs taking on the New York Giants. Sunday Night Football, baby. 2-0-2 teams, man. Okay, sorry, Kansas City Chiefs fans, but I'm smiling. I hope the Chiefs lose this one too, because it's enough already as a Bills fan. But Patrick Mahomes, boy, he's basically doing it all on his own. And it's, I wish I could say I feel sympathetic for the man, but I do not. But anyway, fantasy football-wise, low-level risk. You think I got some hate for Mahomes? Just a little bit. But my evaluation is always unbiased. Patrick Mahomes, low-level risk. Fire him up versus a New York Giants team that's okay, but can't give up a lot of yards and a lot of points. When are they going to get something out of this run game? Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, TD dependency for a Pacheco. We're high-level risk for Hunt. The front seven for these Giants can actually come after the quarterback in a big way. So this offensive line of KC will be tested. Do not like the running back upside for any of these guys at this point, so keep those guys on the bench. Hollywood on the mid-level risk for me at this point. Yeah, okay, I've seen a lot of people dropping Hollywood because the news of Xavier Worthy coming back. I don't get that, man. You're still going to see some targets coming into his direction, especially with assistance from an Xavier Worthy. Hollywood, mid-level risk for me. I think there are better options. We're Juju, low floor. If a Xavier Worthy does come back, injury risk on the mid-level. Play at your own risk, man. Even if he's a decoy that helps guys like Hollywood and Travis Kelce, but he's got to play on the field. I don't foresee them, giving him a heaping of target share, which would be good news for Hollywood if a Worthy comes back just to pull coverage and play that decoy role. Travis Kelce, mid-level risk, 2 low-level booms. So far this year, we can play him. He could have had a bigger game had the ball not tipped off his hands and turned into an interception. He's at least being targeted enough, but one of these teams will be 0-3. Let's hope it is those Kansas City Chiefs, man. Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Denver Broncos. Herbie, man, oh man, these Chargers, I told y'all again, I was smitten with this offense this offseason, and they are starting to show it. The only wrinkle that I don't like is what is going down with this run game. It's almost like the offensive line is better suited to pass pro rather than opening up lanes for the running backs. But I will not, sugarcoat the fact that O'Mara and Hampton, you're missing your cutback lanes and your holes. It is glaring all over your tape right now. You got to find those cutback lanes, man. Not everything is open like it was in college football. So right now, Herbert is a low-level risk. We fire him up against a Denver defense that was was gashed up last week, and I think, Herbert should at least be able to move the football quite a bit through the air. O'Mara and Hampton, low floor on the mid-level risk. Man, I would want to say, play him, but I just can't do it right now. We haven't seen near enough, and I got to put him on the bench at this point until further notice because it has not been great. 10 points in 2 games, just not looking nice at this point. Low floor, mid-level risk, but put him on the bench. Likewise, with a Najee Harris TD floor, he does not look good either. He looks like he is slow and washed at this point, but no holes are being open for these running backs, so you got to give him some credit as well. It's not all their fault. Ladd McConkey, he's a good lad. PPR upside in the green. He was dealing with some kind of practice injury as well. He has actually falling backward, and I think maybe just because he's getting a lot of coverage, because QJ and Keenan Allen, they seem to be running free all over this field at this point. Still like the play of Ladd McConkey this week. Eventually he's going to get his flowers, and I think Herbert finds him in a big way this week as well. QJ, boom upside on the mid-level risk. The low amount of target share that this man is getting, he is making the most of every single opportunity that he does have. QJ, I do like the play this week because the upside is too hard to bench at this point, but mid-level risk because I think teams will start to move over to that side and say you're not going to beat us deep with QJ, or they're going to make it contested, and hopefully his hands are a problem again with those dropping problem that he continuously has. We'll see. QJ, don't dislike the play because the upside is huge, but I would not be shocked if we see a lot of more dedicated coverage to his side. Keenan Allen, fire him up everywhere he got him. Old man Keenan still got some moves, still getting open, still creating separation. PPR upside in the green. Him and Ladd should have a very nice day, man. Trey Harris, nothing to see here just yet, where Will Disley is dealing with a knee injury, but it's good news because Ty Conklin is the better tight end. I've been saying it over and over again. Still got Conklin on a red, high risk PPR floor, but if he starts getting some passes, you're going to see what I'm talking about. With Herbert, man, Conklin is the tight end they got to utilize in this offense. Los Angeles Rams taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Big time showdown, man. This is going to be an interesting contest where the Eagles, they're doing what they got to do to win games. That's all they care about at this point. Repeating as Super Bowl champions is, on front of mind for the Eagles, where the Rams are trying to continue to move forward. I think I saw something about Coach Sean McVay tore his Achilles or something crazy. I don't know what he did. A foot injury on the sideline, running around on the sideline last week. Crazy, man. You're not wearing pads, Sean. Take it easy on the sideline. But Matthew Stafford, mid-level risk versus the Eagles. Should be a difficult contest for him overall, even though they do play a lot of the top-end teams very well. The Eagles' defense is stout and good enough, and they will make a lot of headaches for him as well. Got to get the run game going. It's not going to go good. So Kyren Williams, I still got volume upside in the green because I think and I foresee potentially more, short yardage passes and dump-offs, screen plays potentially, or, gadget plays to a Kyren rather than trying to run up the middle versus front line because Jalen Carter is a man-possessed, and it's very difficult to run up the middle. Kyren, I still like the play, but it is going to be, hedging on lower point totals likely this week, but he should be able to at least find some decent point productivity. Blake Corum found his way to some decent points last week. Still high-level risk for me. Got to see more consistency in if they are going to be splitting up this backfield. Puka Nacua, low-level risk. Fire him up. Devontae Adams, fire him up everywhere you got him. Both these guys look nice, and like I said last week, Devontae was going to get a touchdown. You're welcome. I mean, it was too easy of an evaluation to not see that Devontae, he came here for purpose, and they were going to force feed him, which they did, and he found his way into the end zone. Tutu Atwell, high-level risk. Likewise with a Higbee. I do not trust it this week. Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Washington Commanders. Geno looked absolutely horrific last week in primetime. Was not a good show. Throwing interceptions, looking late, and again, it's because they can't get the run game going. You got to run the football to get Geno to feel comfortable, to set up that play-action pass. Just does not look nice, man. Mid-level risk versus Akami's defense. That's still good, and they will pressure, but I don't like the top-end points for Geno this week. If you have to play him, I get it, but there are better options than Geno this week. Ashton Jeanty, volume upside. Well, it's kind of like the O'Mara Hampton evaluation. I'd like to say put him on the bench. It's just not near enough. The volume upside's way too good for Ashton Jeanty at this point still. He's the only back that basically touches the football on this offense. But what did I tell y'all, man? Everyone said he was going to come in and light up the league because he breaks so many tackles. This is the NFL. This is not college football. These are grown-ass men going after this guy who can break tackles as well. We haven't seen a great contest or even, he breaks tackles already. He's had some highlight reel broken tackles, but then everyone swarms the guy and he gets down anyway. So it's going to be tough sledding for this guy. This might might be the best day Ashton Jeanty has so far in the NFL. Fire him up everywhere he got him, due in part to volume upside. Jacoby Meyers, mid-level risk, wanted to see more decent point totals last week. I think he is trustworthy, at least low-end wide receiver 2 to flex appeal for me for a Jacoby. I do like the play this week as well. Geno does look in his direction quite a bit. Trey Tucker, low floor, high-level risk. We're Dante Thornton Jr., target floor, high-level risk. Not touching these guys this week. Versus the commies and Sandstrom, that he should be able to lock these guys up as well. Where Brock Bowers, he was dealing with that knee injury last week. He still played and concluded that contest. Should be good this week. Fire him up, low-level risk. We should see a lot more targets going in his direction. Minnesota Vikings taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Carson Wentz, no more J.J. McCarthy this week. Ankle injury, no Aaron Jones. Hamstring sent to IR. Man, oh man, they're falling apart already at the seams in Minnesota. Carson Wentz is your starting quarterback. I don't like it. I mean, we didn't like Carson Wentz for a very long time, but I mean, okay, does Coach O'Connell have something in his bag of tricks to say he can make Carson Wentz look like a fabulous quarterback? Maybe, and I mean, at least Carson Wentz is seasoned enough that he could throw the football around better than somebody, well, I don't want to say better than J.J. McCarthy, but at least he'll be able to be somewhat more efficient, hopefully, than J.J. McCarthy, just because he's a seasoned veteran and been around the NFL. Mid-level risk, I'm not playing it, but I do like the upside versus a very poor Cincinnati Bengals defense. They give up a lot of points. Carson Wentz should at least throw the football a lot, enough to get us fantasy point totals for everybody on this field. Jordan Mason, fire him up everywhere he got him. No Aaron Jones. He's looked absolutely stellar running in between the tackles. End zone trips got to be coming for this man, as there is no split touches because Xavier is the backup running back, and I mean he shouldn't see very much of the play this week as well. Mason is going to be an absolute dog, getting all the carries and should find his way into the end zone. Justin Jefferson, JJ, quarterback proof, fire him up everywhere he got him. Even me throwing the football, I could get JJ a touchdown because he's that good. Adam Thielen, high level risk. Jalen Naylor, high level risk. I actually do like a potential deep league play for an Adam Thielen with Carson Wentz, but we'll see, okay? I don't like it right now because it's only 5.6 points in 2 games. It'll cripple us, but I'm just saying it overall. I will not be shocked if Adam Thielen has a much better game with somebody like Carson Wentz, where TJ Hawkinson, he hasn't been great either this year as well, but with a Carson Wentz, TJ Hawk might be the safety blanket check down this week, like I was hoping J.J. McCarthy would make him into, so I'm okay with the play of Hawkinson this week. Hope for the best in that sense. New England Patriots taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Drake May, my dude, low-level risk. He's looking nice, man, 42 points, and he's spreading the football around. He's looking good. Fire up a Drake May against a Pittsburgh Steelers defense that is looking old and aging. Definitely not the same Steel Town defense they used to be. Trevion Henderson, man, Coach Vrabel, what is he? He's like, okay, he gets a couple holding calls in pass pro, and he's like, he's got to improve. He's going to sit on the bench, and then he played Ramondre. Give him a break, man. He's a rookie learning on the fly and still the best pass pro running back coming out of this draft. No question. Mid-level risk for Trey, only due in part to volume and the fact that the coach pulled him basically when he had those penalties. Ramondre Stevenson, mid-level risk, had a gorgeous catch on the sidelines. What did I always say about Dre? Big man with light feet that can catch. Sign me up all day long. Ramondre still showing the fact that he's got that ability. Mid-level risk for him. If I had to pick one today, I'm still picking Dre over Trey because it is the safer option, but eventually they're going to unleash Trevion Henderson for that big upside play. Stefon Diggs, we can Diggs it, man. Low-level risk for Diggy, or low floor, on the high-level risk for Diggs. I don't like it whatsoever. Has not shown near enough chemistry with a Drake May. They're nursing him along coming off that ACL. We're Pop Douglas, pop, PPR floor. Not near enough balls going in his direction, but Kayshon Boutte, you like Booty? He is good, man. Mid-level risk. Fire him up. Found his way to the end zone this past week as well. Kyle Williams not playing it. Boomer bust upside is not quite there yet, but he is a high-level risk play for every single league you play in. If you're in a 20-man league, you can't even play a Kyle Williams at this point. We're Hunter Henry, mid-level risk. I gotta believe in this contest because they do got some good defensive abilities in Pittsburgh. Hunter Henry should see at least more targets to come to his direction. But right now, these Patriots, they're spreading the ball around big time to everybody, hence why we don't see the top-end point totals for these wide receivers. New Orleans Saints taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Spencer Rattler, he had a better showing last week. First boom game of the season, I believe, of his career for Spencer Rattler. Very good. Playing the Seattle Seahawks. Lots of injuries on the Seahawks back end. With a spoon, he's doubtful to play. Like in Amanawari, he is doubtful to play. Likewise, with a Love, he's doubtful to play. So there is going to be open, free lanes for these wide receivers. Mid-level risk for Spencer Rattler. Just don't throw the football to the defense, and you should be good. These guys should get open for him all day long. Alvin Kamara, low-level risk. Fire him up everywhere you got him. They've been kind of keeping him in neutral a little bit, even though he's given us 25.7 points in 2 games, 2 boom games. It's just not the same Alvin Kamara yet, the dominating force. Yes, he's getting the majority of the volume. It's just not that Alvin Kamara dominating force yet. So it's coming. They continue to force feed him. Fire up Alvin, obviously, everywhere he got him. Kendre Miller, high-level risk, not touching it. Where Chris Olave, CO2, my guy as well. You guys know my love for CO2's game, and I think that in this contest versus the Seahawks with all those injuries, no with a spoon, I think CO2 has a great game, man. First time this season, he should have a big-time showing. He's roughly going about 8 points. I believe we could see 15 from Chris Olave this week. End zone shot, gotta be coming. Spencer Rattler, fire to CO2 this week. Rashid Shaheed, mid-level risk, don't dislike it either, as he will take the top off of any defense. There is some upside, some boomer bust appeal as well, but Shaheed is making a case with a Spencer Rattler. Brandon Cook's not touching it, but Juwan Johnson, abso-freaking-lutely fire this man. I've told y'all 2 weeks ago on the waiver, go pick this guy up, and that's exactly what he is. Young quarterbacks need a safety blanket. Spencer Rattler is the only young quarterback right now that seems to get it in this league. Fire to your athletic tight end, and he will make a lot of plays. We can play Juwan Johnson this week. New York Giants taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Russell Wilson, dangerous. He is flirting with being benched, not because of play, just because they can't win football games. 0-2 versus the 0-2 Chiefs. Career high in yards last week, so I think that, 42 points on the season. Mid-level risk versus the Chiefs. The Chiefs can be gashed through the air, but that front seven should come after this Giants offensive line, especially with the fact that they're not running the football well with a Russell Wilson. So for me, Russell Wilson, we can suit up in deeper leagues, in my opinion, where Tyrone Tracy and Cam Skadaboo. Low floor for Tracy. I got to put him on my bench, man. I don't like what I see. 11.6 points. Why are you guys not running the football more in New York? Dable, what is your problem, dude? Scatabo at least looked good. Scatabo looked good last week. 14.8 points so far on the season. He was bowling over guys, taking some volume. Make this a true thunder and lightning approach in this backfield. Both these backs should be able to eat, man. I just don't get it. Sit Tracy. We can likely play a Scatabo, but again, against that Kansas City front line, I don't like either option this week. Both on the mid-level risk, low floor and volume upside, respectively. Malik Neighbors, low-level risk. Fire him up, obviously, everywhere he got him. At least that moon ball still works for Russ Wilson and gets it downfield to Malik Neighbors a lot. Darius Slayton, high-level risk, not touching it, but Wan'Dale is becoming that secondary piece that we all thought he could be with somebody like Malik Neighbors. The consistency from Russell Wilson to be able to still support multiple wide receivers is here. So Wan'Dale, absolutely, we can fire him up this week as well. At least at worst, we'll get garbage time productivity. Theo Johnson, he is ascending, but not near enough to be warranting a play for me this week. New York Jets taking on Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tyrod Taylor is the starter because of a Justin Fields concussion. He's been ruled out. High-level risk versus the Buccaneers for Tyrod. He's going to run. He's still got a pretty deep pass, but it's Tyrod. We know what it is. It's not great. Obviously can't play him, but this will downgrade everybody in this offense. Breece Hall versus a Buccaneers defensive front that is stout and sound. Volume upside only in the green because they should still be able to do the RPOs with the legs of Tyrod Taylor, so maybe there's some misdirection. But, I mean, it's one of those things. I have to say we got to play a Breece Hall just because of where he is on our roster and where we drafted him. But, I mean, definitely cautiously optimistic that he could get us good point totals. Did not look good last week. Braylon Allen, keep him on the bench at this point. Volume floor. If I'm the New York Jets with Tyrod Taylor, run the damn football with both Breece and Braylon. Control that clock and go home, hopefully with a victory versus the Buccaneers. It's easier said than done, but at least give these guys the volume. Braylon sits on my bench this week. Likewise with a Garrett Wilson, mid-level risk. Going to be very tough to get him a lot of point totals with a Tyrod Taylor. Play at your own risk. In a couple leagues that I got him, I'm going to say depending on my options. If I got better options, I think I'm taking him this week for Garrett Wilson. If not, we're forced to play him. It's just one of those situations we have to play him where we drafted him. So that is the situation right now. If you got better options, take him over for a Garrett Wilson over anybody else. Allen Lazard, Tyler Johnson, Mason Taylor, high-level risk. We are not playing any of these gentlemen, even with a Justin Fields, so nothing is going to change for me with a Tyrod Taylor. Philadelphia Eagles, fly, taking on the LA Rams. 2-0, baby. This is a big showing. Jalen Hurts, okay, he's getting cussed down. They're saying, you didn't even get 100 yards. He's like, we won the game. And that's all they're doing right now, man. Like I said this whole offseason, I was so weary of the A.J. Brown, drafting him so high. Everyone had him in the top, 15, top 10. Was way too rich for my blood, and it continues, man. 6.5 points for A.J. Brown. That's absolutely criminal for one of the better to best wide receivers in this league. Jalen Hurts, low-level risk. He's still going to get you the points, especially versus the Rams defense that can get after the quarterback. They can be gashed through the air, so I think the pass game's got to be rejuvenated in this contest. Saquon, fire him up, obviously. No explanation needed there. Low-level risk, fire him up everywhere he got him. A.J. Dillon, not touching. A.J. Brown, mid-level risk, target floor. So it is pick your poison. For me, he's going to break out eventually, and it's probably going to happen when we put him on our bench. So that's one of the situations that we got to say. For me, we drafted him high. Eventually, he's going to break out, but at what cost? If you're 0-2, we got to sit him. What else can you say? But do you have a better option? Likewise with the Garrett Wilson situation. Do you have a better option to play someone else over A.J. Brown? That's the question. If you don't, we got to play him. If you do, then make that decision on behalf of what you're doing on your roster. He's going to break out eventually. This feels like the game. He could get peppered with targets, but I did say that last week as well. Devontae Smith, Smitty, PBR floor, man. Again, he was one of these guys flirting with the low upside, potential high end with touchdowns. It is what it is. I mean, this is the Eagles offense. I'm looking in other directions for both A.J. Brown and Smitty if I got them. If you don't, I understand playing them. Hopefully you got better options. Jahan Dotson, not touching it, but Dallas Goedert, I do like the play this week. He's off the injury report and should be good to go. TD upside on the mid-level risk. Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the New England Patriots. Aaron Rodgers and company coming off a loss. They got to fix this run game. What else can I say? Jaylen Warren, at least he's doing some damage in the PPR game, in the pass game, so we can fire up Jaylen Warren this week versus the Patriots as well. Low-level risk, 2 boom games. He's got 30 points almost on the season, and Aaron Rodgers is developing trust in him. That's a good thing. But, I mean, Caleb Johnson, rookie, what are you doing, dude? On that kickoff, you're never going to see the field again, bro. I don't know what he's doing. High-level risk, man. At this point, he's still on my board because they drafted him for a reason. He's just been so underwhelming. It is ridiculous what's going on with Caleb Johnson. DK Metcalf, good upside in the green versus the Patriots, even though Gonzalez is back and should be suiting up this week and should shadow a DK Metcalf. Still like DK this week versus the Patriots. Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson. Boomer bust for Calvin Austin. Like I said, man, it's one of those situations. 1 out of 4 games, you're going to see him catch a touchdown on a deep play. That's what they do in Pittsburgh, man. I'm not trusting it this week. Roman Wilson, you're failing, man. Huge high-level risk. Pat Freiermuth, the Muth, high-level risk. They just don't utilize him enough because Arthur Smith loves Jonnu Smith. So I'm going to say mid-level risk for Jonnu this week versus the New England Patriots. Something of a revenge game for Jonnu. He should get a good heaping of targets in that contest and hopefully repay us in a good way. San Francisco 49ers taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Mac Jones, even though Brock Purdy is on the questionable, they're saying it is likely that Mac Money Jones is going to play this week. We can fire up Mac Money versus these Arizona Cardinals. 110%. Look what he did. Anybody can play. If you're a quarterback like a Brock Purdy, like a Mac Money Jones, you fit in like a glove in the Kyle Shanahan system. He showed it last week. Moved the ball very well. 22 points. Nearly low-level risk. Fire up Mac Jones everywhere we got him. CMC, low-level risk. So much for that calf and Achilles issue, 38 points so far in 2 games, and they are riding him without necessarily giving him any kind of break as Brian Robinson Jr. volume floor on the high-level risk, not near enough touches to go to him because CMC is eating up all the carries like he should again this week. Ricky Pearsall, fire him up everywhere he got him as well. Will Johnson is sitting in this contest for these Cardinals, so there will be openings for these wide receivers to gallop free in the secondary. I do like the play of Ricky Pearsall this week. Likewise with Juwan Jennings, he's dealing with an ankle and calf injury, mid-level risk for me. Should get enough targets to go to his direction, but I like the play of Ricky over Juwan this week. MVS not touching. We're a Jake Tongs. even though we saw Luke Farrell get a lot of catches as well. Both these tight ends should be integrated again this week, but Tongs has a good floor on the mid-level risk. If you are looking for a tight end, you could do a lot worse than this guy in a Kyle Shanahan offense. Seattle Seahawks taking on the New Orleans Saints. Sam Darnold, we could see something of a shootout in this contest. Low-level risk for Sam Darnold. Fire him up if we got him. We got Zach Charbonnet. He is on the injury, doubtful with a foot injury, so you're going to see George Halani. Holy Halani is going to be playing in this one, so it is he's a decent back as well. Kenny showed, K9 showed last week that he is good to go. Just got to give him the volume. It looked like week one they were still nursing him back from that off season filled with injuries. He looked fresh. He looked healthy. K9 looked great. Boom upside in the green, back-to-back boom games I'm calling for K9 this week, where Halani volume floor should get at least some touches. Deeper leagues only for a Halani, man. JSN, Jack Smith-Njigba, low-level risk. Likewise with the Cooper Kupp, said it was a mid-level bounce back last week. Low-level risk, man. They found something in these two gentlemen last week, and I absolutely love it versus the New Orleans Saints, who do hemorrhage points to a lot of fantasy players as well. Torrey Horton, boomer bust on the high level. We still can't trust it, even though he caught his one pass for a touchdown, 10 points. He's a good talent as well, but they're figuring things out still very slowly, and I do like the play of Sam Darnold with JSN, Cooper Kupp. As for tight ends, A.J. Barner, Elijah Arroyo, I'm not trusting it, but it was nice to see A.J. Barner get into the conversation of being utilized with target share in this offense. Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the New York Jets. Bake Show, baby. This guy, he's got ice in his veins. I'm calling him Mr. 2-minute man because he is just killer in the 2-minute, 2-minute, what do you call it? My God, it just slipped my tongue. Where they're rushing in 2-minute drill, man. There you go, 2-minute drill. He just so damn good in it. He's showcased again that he can win the contest when put on his back, and he looked damn good. Low-level risk, fire a Baker ever we got him. Likewise with Bucky Irving, fire him up ever we got him. Don't even have to think twice versus a New York Jets defense that is definitely not the same as what they used to be. All y'all that criticized me for Rachaad White saying he's done, it's Bucky's backfield. I told y'all, man, his role is not going anywhere. Is it going to be like it was every single week like it was last week? No. But at least he's going to have his opportunities in the pass game. He's going to have his spelling opportunities. You cannot ride a Bucky Irving for 350 carries in this offense, man. Don't get that twisted. As good as Bucky is, he's not a workhorse like that. Rachaad is still going to have his role this week, mid-level risk in the PPR game. He does still have some upside this week. Mike Evans, Big Mike. I mean, low-level risk for me. 0 boom games in 2 contests. This has got to be rectified immediately, Baker. But, I mean, it's only because, very much contested catches. Attempts been dropped by Mike Evans. His coverage has been extremely stellar, and Emeka Egbuka has taken the role of ascension at this point. Emeka is dealing with a hip and groin issue at this point. We saw him wrapped up on the sidelines this past week. Mike Evans should see more targets come his way if Emeka is not 100%. Chris Godwin still dealing with an injury. It's Sterling Shepard and other wideouts will try to fill the void, but Mike Evans should have a good heaping of targets to come his way this week. Emeka Egbuka, injury risk. I mean, if they say he's good to go, we got to fire him up. That's all I got to say. But he could exit at any moment if that thing does flare up. So definitely keep tabs on that. Sterling Shepard not touching it. Where Cade Otton, if an Emeka does not suit up, Cade Otton would see a mid-level risk. No question, we could suit him up if Emeka does sit in this contest. Tennessee Titans taking on the Indianapolis Colts. Cam Ward. He looks okay. He's a rookie. He's got to, grow. Pains are going to be here. High-level risk. We're not touching it. But what it does to this offense, it downgrades everybody. Tony Pollard, as much volume as he's getting, 16 points, this should already be at 30, man, for the amount of volume he gets. I don't like it versus the Colts, but Tony Pollard has done very well versus the Colts historically. So don't dislike the play of Pollard, but I am giving him a mid-level risk this week. Calvin Ridley. Can't trust it, man, until he shows with a Cam Ward. I thought last week was going to be the peppering of targets. Did not occur, so this week it's target floor on the mid-level risk. He is staying on my bench, and I am not taking him off. Tyler Lockett is a forgotten man in this offense because I can't support even a Calvin Ridley. Where Alec Ayo-Maynor, he is a mid-level risk. He got some good play last week and seemingly has the best chemistry with young Cam Ward so far. So Ayo-Maynor, pick your poison. I'm not starting him, but pick your poison if that's what you want to do. Chig Okonkwo, he will never be a thing in Tennessee. I just don't understand why they don't look in his direction. If he gets traded somewhere else, maybe he becomes something. He's too freaking talented in athletic upside to keep the ball out of his hands, but we can't play him in fantasy football. Last one we got is the Washington Commanders Commies taking on those Las Vegas Raiders. Marcus Mariota taking on one of his former clubs in those Raiders as well, because Jaden Daniels, JD, is out with a knee injury. Not good news. Noah Brown is done with an elbow as well, and we know Austin Eckler was put on injured reserve with that Achilles issue. Mid-level risk for Marcus Mariota. He's a seasoned vet already. He knows how to play this game. And in this offense, okay, we'll see how he does. He's got guys like Terry. He's got Debo. You got to temper those expectations overall for top-end point productivity, because at least in Vegas, their defensive front is still good enough to come after the quarterback, where their secondary still's got some holes. So if they can absolutely exploit the secondary, get some good blocking upside, and hopefully get the run game going, Mariota could be a decent play in deeper leagues. I'm not playing him overall, but deeper leagues, 14 and 16 is not terrible for Mariota. JCM, his volume upside for days, man, out the wazoo. No more Austin Eckler. Volume upside should be here for JCM. But do not discount the fact of a Jeremy McNichols. We've seen it in the past. Guys go down, they call upon McNichols, and he makes a lot of plays, man. I do like the play of McNichols as a sneaky sleeper to have a very good week versus the Raiders. Mid-level risk for a McNichols, where volume upside in the green for JCM. Scary Terry McLaurin, mid-level risk. Don't like it. It's not happening. 11 points. This is why I hate guys that sit out, because they lose all training camp, and it takes them 4 weeks to get their football legs back. With a Marcus Mariota, I don't like it whatsoever. I'm looking for better options. I don't even care if he hits on my bench. I'm looking for better options. Debo, good floor in the green, only because that Cliff Kingsbury, the offensive coordinator, will at least give him opportunity to run the football as well. There is more potential upside for volume for a Debo. I will play Debo over Terry this week, and I don't even care. Luke McCaffrey, high-level risk, and Zach Ertz, safety blanket for a Mariota. I do like the play of him this week as well. He should continue his torrid pace, no question. But there you have it. That is week number 3. Starts at lineup advice. Like I always say, drop your comments, or drop all your starts at comments in the comments, and I will get back to you without question. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments like I'm saying. Good luck this week. Let's get those dubs, and we'll see you next time. I am out.